I am almost certain you guys cannot hear the music. Is that correct? I am almost certain you guys cannot hear the music. Is that correct? I am almost. You goddamn right you do. Goddamn right you do. Yes, 9 Lives. It is pre-recorded. I recorded this about a week ago. What do you mean it sounds bad, Addy Pie? Hello, Jojo D. How you doing, buddy? It kind of sucks audio-wise. Yeah. You can hear it now, though? I don't fucking know. I'm doing it through StreamYard because it's easier, but I'll figure it out. But not today. Not today! Jarvie rocks. Come on, man. Get our shit together, Jarvie. Let's go on an adventure and climb a hill or some such shit. I like that that's the adventure I proposed. Like, yeah, Jaffe, I'm in. What are we doing? We're going to find the lost art? We're going to go climb a fucking hill. It's not for me. It's not for me. I got to tell you what I got. I purchased, rented. No, I purchased it. I'll tell you in a minute. It's garbled. Yeah, I'll turn off the music. All right, fuck it. That is, unfortunately, it doesn't sound good, but that is the great alixplox himself doing music from Twisted Metal 2. I will figure out why that is not working. Again, this is all I'm working on Streamlabs. No, that's not right. StreamYard with the duck. And I like it for a lot of things, but I'm struggling to get the music. You don't care. You don't give a fuck about that. You're here. I don't know why you're here, but I appreciate it. Welcome to Gabbin' Games for Tuesday. Gabbin' Games Live is what this is called. Listen, my new PC is holding up great so far, Zeke. It probably helps that most of the gaming I'm doing is GeForce Now. But yeah, no, I absolutely am happy I picked up a new PC. We have a lot to talk about today, not the least of which is Star Wars. I know that the Lady Gaga Joker trailer is supposed to drop. If it drops sometime during the show, we'll just all watch it. I won't put it on the screen because I don't want to get, my channel fucked up, but I'll turn off the audio and I'll watch it. You guys watch it, then we'll come back and talk about it. I'm kind of excited to watch it. I never saw the whole Joker. I've only seen scenes of it, like when he kills Murray and some other parts, but I liked it, but I didn't watch the whole thing because I just heard it was such a downer. I know that's what it's supposed to be. I know, but I don't want to feel that way. So I didn't watch the whole thing, but I am curious about this one. I'm also into Lifesavers lately. This stream has been brought to you by the fine folks at Lifesavers Candy. That's not true, but I got this one just now, and I don't know what it is. It looks like cum flavored is what it would look like. On camera, it looks yellow, but in real life, it's kind of just this white, milky flavor. And what is that? What is that flavor? It's not gummies, no. I don't know what it is. It's gone now. Am I watching the Fallout show tomorrow? Probably. Oh, pineapple multi. That's what that is. Okay. So listen, all right, I'm ready to do the show. Sorry, fellas. Ravnos, I agree. I don't know if it was an okay remake of The King of Comedy, but it certainly obviously had intentional nods. And I love The King of Comedy. That was a great Martin Scorsese motion picture show. If you want to call into the show, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm not going to bring you in immediately, but if you put yourself in the waiting room, you can call in by clicking that link. You don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. If you want to, that's great. The audience wants to see your pretty mug. And if you're not watching on the YouTube, you're watching on the Twitter or the Twitter or the Twitch. Jesus Christ, these people, Silicon Valley fucks. There's a little link. It's not a link, unfortunately. You got to copy it into your browser, but you can call in if you want to as well. Where did that go? Do you talk to chat with the same amount of love as you do for your kids? I don't think about that. I don't really know. It depends who we're talking about. P Turtle's always welcome to show up. I just wish he wouldn't get so upset when he gets all. I'm like, okay, you got 5 minutes, and he's like, what? What do you mean 5 minutes? As best high as my voice can go. What do you mean 5 minutes? And I'm just like, dude, it's not the P Turtle show. I've told P Turtle numerous times, I'll set up a specific one-on-one conversation, but he don't call. Listen, welcome to Gabbing Games. We're going to get to the game news. I want to give you a couple little heads up things going on tomorrow morning. I will be streaming at 10 a.m. the Trip Initiative game. I think it's Triple I Initiative game showcase, like Triple I. It's for indies. So that'll be 10 a.m. on this very channel. The developers of Darkest Dungeon, Spiritfarer, V Rising, Risk of Rain, Slay the Spire, Dead Cells, all these guys have come together as developers and said, let's put on our own little cavalcade of comedy and creative courage. And that's what we'll be watching tomorrow, 10 o'clock. If you want to join, that's what's going to be happening. Okay, the other thing I want to tell you is if you are inclined to listen to me and good Sir Colin Moriarty talk about religion, politics, games, and watch us smoke some dope, that is now live for everybody. You don't even have to be a member to watch that. That's here also in the video section and the stream section of this here little channel. Finally, well, two more final things. You know what I bought today? Anybody ever had any experience with these? The Conqueror virtual challenges. These are, at first I thought they were like, it was an app that you listen to stuff that they had pre-recorded. Like it's like, it's for walking and running and stuff. And I need to walk more. And so I got this Lord of the Rings one where it starts in the Shire. Shut up. You can make fun. Fuck you. It starts in the Shire, and it basically has little sections on the map that tracks Frodo's journey to Mordor. And at the end of it, you end up getting an actual medal. And it does things like it gives you little incentives. Like if you go another 3 miles, you'll make it to whatever the inn was that they met Strider at. And it'll show you pictures and images and text about that and stuff. So it's just kind of a fun little motivating thing. It was $50. I wanted to give it a shot. So I'll let you guys know how it is, but I also like that you get a medal. You don't get I guess you do get the ring. I guess you get the ring because that makes sense if you solve the Shire, but you can also do, if you're really into Lord of the Rings, you can do the entire thing, the entire adventure, right? But they have Game of Thrones, right? You can do Eye of Sauron, Mines of Moria, kind of cool. Mordor's 282 miles. The Shire is going to take me 145 miles. No, Sam says, a prancing pony, right? Sam says, just walk, bro. No. You think people like that? Listen to me, Samuel Toshi. No. If you think I'm not cognizant of the idea that yes, I don't need to pay $50 to just walk, sure. But anything that motivates me, it's still free. As walking used to be free. It's still free. But you know what? I like little things that get me up off my butt, and this is one of them, you son of a bitch. Jaffe seems like he eats 3 Big Macs a day and then needs this as an exercise to walk. I don't eat Big Macs at all. I don't eat meat. There was an app that steps would give you points to PSN or Xbox gift cards. That's pretty cool too, Joker. I like that. Although, you know what? I probably have so many PlayStation stars. I know I do. I should kind of figure out how much ducats or how many games I could buy, like full featured games. But anyway, if anybody has any experience with this, let me know. But I'm going to start this tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, they also have, like I said, they have real locations like the Great Wall of China. They have Looney Tunes, which is not a real location. If you didn't know that, come on, man, that's cool. You get like a medal. Shut up. Hey, Mash has joined the soldiers. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Everybody welcome Mash, the 4077th Mash. Come on now, I'm old. That's a reference to one of the best TV shows ever, Mash. Thank you, buddy, for being here with us. Cameron says, I pay $40 a week to go walking. It's called golf. Ha ha, you old son of a bitch. You got me. Lots of vapid people stream their walks. Okay. Okay, let's get on with it though. The other thing I want to tell you is I finally pulled the goddamn trigger. And I deleted Suicide Squad. Why did it suddenly stop animating? What the fuck? I'm not one of these haters of this game. I played the shit out of it. I got all the way to the last boss, and I enjoyed it actually very, very much. I didn't see what people hated about it, but I just could never defeat the final boss. It wasn't that he was complicated. It was a whole thing. Don't worry about it. I won't bug you about with the details. Oh, look at Black Manta's gun though that you get. That looks like a fucking submarine, which it's supposed to, I get. It just had a problem with that final boss. There was a bunch of stuff because it's an online only game you had to do every time you turned off your PlayStation or even put it in pause mode. But after trying to beat him probably 20 times and almost doing it, I couldn't. So I think I'm starting to get to the point where I'm just like, I'm going to just start deleting games that I think I'm going to finish, but I know deep down inside I never am. Jack J says it was the writing of the game, the fact that you kill the Justice League. I didn't have a problem with that. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the characters. I love the navigation, especially of Captain Boomerang. The shooting felt good. I think clearly people were disappointed because it wasn't the kind of Batman Arkham game that they were looking forward to. And, a lot of people are understandably over the looter shooter shit. But as just a fun, matinee B game, I really had a good time with it. But I didn't find the writing a problem that people seem to say. What was the last game Jaffe finished as Jojo D? I finished a game called Return to Grace, which is actually only about a 2.5 hour game. It's on Game Pass right now, and it's quite excellent. Okay. Looter Shooter Car Combat Edition would be nice as hint mine. I don't know. It's going to be hard to crack that genre nut. Anyway, let's get into it. I assume you guys have seen the Star Wars trailer that came out today. It was the story trailer. I'm going to play it for us if you haven't seen it. I will be quiet so you don't have to my yapping. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit. And we're also going to talk about Game Informer today just dropped their big feature. I think they're one of the first outlets to go hands-on with Star Wars Outlaws, and we'll talk about what they said. All right, here we go. Star Wars Outlaws official trailer. We'll go full screen. I will mute myself. I can't take myself off the screen. I would if I could. This is StreamYard. I don't know what to tell you. Let us begin, my good friends. Boom, Star Wars.
Each of you represents some of the most powerful criminal organizations in the galaxy. Pikes, Crimson Dawn, Hutts. It's a golden age for the underworld.
The Empire controls every corner of the galaxy, but they're distracted by a rebellion that won't quit.
It's an opportunity to make millions.
K-Vest, the underworld's favorite new scoundrel. We meet at last.
What do you want?
Zarek Besh. They're new, rich, and lethal. You crossed their boss Slero, and now he wants you gone. Rob his fortune, buy your freedom.
This job, it's a death wish. I'm in.
Out here, you live and die by your reputation. You want to survive? Know the players.
You're new to this world.
What's your problem?
Come back when you're not.
Jabba, right? Look, don't try anything. I got a whole crew surrounding the... Okay, we're skipping that part. For about as long as I can remember, it's just been me and Nix. Doing what we have to survive. This job is my one shot at freedom. But if we're gonna pull this off, we need the right crew. And the right ship. Yes! Hang on.
I hire you because you are one of the best hunters in the Outer Rim.
She's more connected than you let on, Sliro. Bess is mixed up in something bigger. The Outer Rim is a dangerous place. Everyone is fighting for their piece of the galaxy. But all I want is to live free. So I'm gonna risk it all. Hold on, Nick!
Star Wars Outlaws pre-order available now.
All right. So there you go. That is Star Wars Outlaws from Massive Entertainment, the guys who do the Division games as well as the last Avatar game for Ubisoft, which I didn't really play more than an hour, the Avatar game, but clearly it was a very beautiful, very well-made production. So that's good. But yeah, so and we'll talk about the trailer first, and then we'll chat about the Game Informer article that just came out about the actual hands-on. Because like I said, I don't know if any other outlets have gone hands-on with it, but it was interesting what they said and how they said it. So when I first saw, excuse me, when I first saw the gameplay trailer, whenever that was revealed, that was one of Keeley's shows, I was like, hey, that looks really fun. And I still feel that way. I think this trailer was really bad, frankly. I mean, nothing was offensive about it other than it's just generic, just been there, done that a gajillion times. So it just doesn't feel all that interesting as a story. And this, since this, all this was a story trailer, it left me feeling kind of like bored. There was like one moment that I thought was genuinely clever, which is when she gets in the cockpit of the ship and the seat's too low, and she kind of has to kind of come back from that with the raising of the seat and the little look. I thought that was pretty good. But the rest of it, I just thought was sort of, you know, is that just me? I mean, Sam says it looks generic cookie cutter template. I'm just talking about the trailer now. We'll get to the game in a second. But you do play this woman and whatever, I think her name is, I don't know what her name is. Yak. I don't fucking know, one of those things. But you play her, and it's interesting when you read the article, the developer talks about her and the little creature called Nyx. And it's like, oh, we look at it as one creature, like one main character, but they're both together. But the way they work together is symbiotic, and it talks about all the stuff like, you know, it's weird. They give that little character so many things that in most games would just be with the main character. So he's got the thing where you can do a send out like a sense to sense where things are that you can interact with, like Batman's, you know, detective vision. You can send them off somewhere to flip a switch, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's, you know, I don't know. The trailer and the article coming out together on the same day really has me much more or much less interested in this than I was, you know? I don't know. I mean, did you, you know, yeah. So Fuzznut says it's just random Star Wars game 3487. I mean, yeah, you know, it's just kind of, I don't know what these guys are thinking other than it's like, look, man, I mean, if you read the article here, I'll show you the article. It's fine. But if you look at the article, and this is in the new Game Informer, I got the digital issue because I haven't gotten my Game Informer yet. I started subscribing to the actual, what's it called? Why is that down there? Oh, I see. I started subscribing to the print edition because I want to start getting it in the mail again. But this is from Brian Shea, and it's like a 7-page article. And it's, I'll just read you some of the choice bits, but it's really kind of, you know, I don't know, man. It just sounds generic. And let me first off just give you a little media literacy. Not that you need it, but I like to point out just the vapid state of games journalism. I'm not insulting Brian Shea. He might be a great writer, and he may have had to write this in 10 minutes, but he says, this is a quote from the associate narrative director, John Bjorling. He says, we felt that one of the venues in Star Wars that especially recently hasn't been explored is that of the scoundrel character. a relatable character, a rookie kind of taking their first steps into the galaxy, exploring the world and really getting involved with the people and factions that make up the fabric of the galaxy. That was something that we knew very early on we wanted to pursue, to have that personal story and really make the galaxy come to life. Now, I read this quote, and I hope somewhere in the article, the 7 pages that follow, we are going to get evidence of that statement, right? I mean, because this is one of the things I hate about games journalists. They just print the PR. They don't push back. It's like, okay, this guy, the journalist had a handful of hours to play it. It's like, okay, so at the end of it, did you really come away feeling that you had gotten involved with the people and the factions, and that it was a world that you felt immersed in this personal story? You know, it's all this like hyperbole that never gets pushed back, and it drives me fucking crazy. I hate it. Listen to this one. There's the same category of writing. It says the team examined the cinematic roots of the Star Wars franchise, down to its inspirations, including Akira Kurosawa westerns and old war movies. Here's the same guy again quoting. He says, it should feel like a classic matinee adventure, gripping conflicts and challenges wrapped in explosive action, adventure, and suspense. But it's also a space opera. You have to have the emotional tension, the character-driven drama. We want the game to be like a realistic rendering style with the filmic treatment, the color grading materials, and the camera effects to ensure this authentic experience that we know from the original movies. All of this is just stupid. It's just dumb. Nobody notices this shit. Even if this was their motivating, let's put the sign on the wall to motivate the whole team every day, you don't need to tell me that's there. The guy who played the game should tell me that's there because he noticed it. It's like going to a fucking horror movie, and before you see it, the director appears going, we really want this movie to scare you, and here's why the scares are important. Shut up. No one cares. And it's not that I'm saying no one cares like I'm being a dick to the guy. I'm saying no one cares in the sense that if you're going to write about a game experience you had, don't tell me don't let the developers pontificate on what they were going for. Because all that really does is poison the well. If they had achieved this, all I'm saying is the writer Brian Shea would have mentioned it. And that's disappointing. It bothers me, okay? Here's what's cool about it, though. Here's what's interesting that kind of, I don't know if it's true or not, but it kind of shames a little bit of Microsoft management, I think. It talks about the game being a single-player action-adventure game. And you guys know I love Starfield, so I'm not bashing Starfield, but it has issues, I get. A single-player action-adventure game is what Star Wars Outlaws is within an open world. However, if the player chooses, they can jump into a ship and fly out into space to participate in battles and jump to other planets. Now, when you go out into space, you're not like in a little box. They have this orbit section, quote, around the planet. It's obviously not around the whole planet, but it should feel that way. And there's stuff to do out there. There's space stations, space battles, exploration. You can land on space stations to get side quests, and you can get shops that you can buy things in. That's pretty cool. And the fact that it's not just like, it's not a seamless transition like No Man's Sky, but it's, you know, it's for most people, it's seamless enough, but it lets you actually do stuff out in space besides just sort of what Starfield does, which makes you go, okay, what's the deal, Xbox management? I understand this is a Bethesda title, but if I was Xbox management, as much as I didn't have a problem with some of the things a lot of these folks were complaining about with Starfield, like the fact that you go up into space and you're just kind of flying around a little box and there's no real sense of travel or any of that, I'd go, guys, come on. You're going to be the big first party show pony for this year. Let's, you know, you've got all the money you need. Let's do this, you know, and I get it. They're tech, blah, 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 but there's a point where you got to go enough. But I think that's cool that they're doing that in Outlaws. We'll see how it pays off. They talk a lot about the, what is it called? The reputation system, where it's like, there's these 4 criminal factions. And if you piss off one, but you might get into the good graces of another. And so in that case, it's like Jabba the Hutt has a faction. The woman from Game of Thrones who was in Solo, what were they called? The Crimson Dawn. She was Lady Kira or something. She's in there with the faction. There's a Pike Syndicate and something called the Ashiga clan, which I don't know anything about. And you piss off, let's say, Jabba, but you do it because you do something for the Pike Syndicate, and that makes things easier for the Pike Syndicate, or they'll sell you a part for your blaster that will let you solve puzzles in a certain way that you wouldn't have gotten as easily, blah, blah, blah. It sounds interesting, but it also just kind of sounds like, I don't want to deal with that. You know, the one thing I do like is the Empire basically apparently are the cops in GTA. So if you go around and you break the law and stuff, you get wanted levels for your character, and you've got stormtroopers and elite guards coming after you and all that. That sounds doable. But I don't know if I want to deal with this fucking micromanagement. And maybe it's not, but the way the article's written, it's clearly they've put a lot of effort into this reputation system, which to me just sounds fine. And maybe it's streamlined, but it just kind of sounds like a lot of busy work. The other thing about this is a design question, is they talk a lot about, well, any scenario in the game, and you're an outlaw, you're a scoundrel, you're not a Jedi or anything. Not that a Jedi can't be a scoundrel, but you know what I'm saying. Although I guess if he was a scoundrel or she was a scoundrel, the Jedi Order would say, no, you're out. You're out. What do you think you can go? You're out, right? But yeah, I mean, look. So they're like, you can stealth your way through things. You can blast your way through things. You can do a mix. You can use your little rodent Nix guy to help you out. But you can play it how you want to play it. And if you've pissed off the faction that you're having to go in and rob, for example, and you stealth, but you get caught, they're going to be a lot more aggressive because you're already in their bad graces. Design wise, though, you're talking about, it would have to be difficult at the level of a Souls game to make that matter. Like, I highly doubt a big budget commercial game like this from Ubisoft, they're literally going to make, like, the only way to make this reputation system really matter is to tune the game in such a way that if you don't play it, it's unbearably difficult. Like, if you don't play the reputation system. So it's like, hey, I pissed off Jabba because I gave the bootleg shit from the rebels to the Crimson Dawn people. Okay, so now if I get caught stealthing in his palace to get, you know, some bullshit, the guards he sends out are numerous and almost impossible to kill. So I have to stealth that because I fucked it up, and I should have played the reputation meter if I didn't want to do that, right? I don't think a Ubisoft big budget game is going to do that. I think it's going to be like, yeah, it's a little spice on top of the meal, but even if you pissed off everybody, you can shoot your way out of it. I could be wrong, but that's what I'd want to know if I'm a goddamn journalist covering this fucking thing. The cameos, they said this is what they say. He says, when I ask about additional Star Wars character, the creative director gives him a bit of a smirk. He says there are a few recognizable Star Wars characters that will meet across the adventure, but he says, listen to this. This is what tons of words we have here signifying nothing because the journalist didn't ask for details. He says there are because this is set between Empire and Jedi. He says there are tons of characters that you could pull in and you could probably force some excuses for why that should happen. But if it isn't earned by the character in the story, it will be forced and it's not going to be enjoyable. He says, where we've made those calls of who are the characters that she will cross paths with, does it feel earned? Would she go there? How would she handle it? That has been our mantra. I think it feels so much more rewarding that way. Maybe it does, but that sounds like one of those things you say. But frankly, if Luke Skywalker shows up, it's still going to feel weird, right? Because it's going to feel like, it's Luke. I know that guy. Like, even in the trailer, nothing was earned there. It's just like, look, there's Han Solo. Remember Jedi? He's in this. Remember he was frozen. You can go up to, no, I don't know. Maybe it'll be great. Maybe it'll be great. And I know technically it'll be great. And I know visually it'll be great. And I think core to core, moment to moment gameplay, it's going to be pretty darn good. I remain excited. But I will tell you, between the story trailer and the article, and I'll just read you the conclusion. I've gotten a lot colder on this, but I'll still be playing day one. What am I, a moron? Shh. Here's the conclusion. He says, on the surface, it seems like the game is going for a jack-of-all-trades approach with third-person combat, stealth, and an ever-changing reputation system, open-world exploration, speeder bike traversal, and space combat. But every piece of Outlaws I got my hands on felt worthy of its inclusion in this sprawling outer space odyssey. My time with Massive Entertainment's Scoundrel Journey was rewarding, excited, and perhaps most importantly, whetted my appetite for the adventure. All right. here's what I'll tell you about. I'll go to the chat in a second. I want to see what you guys are thinking about this, but I'll tell you something about this. The first thing it makes me think of is, could I get outside of Lego an ability to play the original trilogy, or fuck, even the prequels? Like, I want a team to come together. I don't need your own story. I really don't. There's nothing about this story that sounds compelling. I'm not saying it won't be, but if you're going to drop a story trailer, you should make me go, oh, fuck, that's cool. I don't know what that would be because I'm not writing it, but that's the response a story trailer should, generate. This is just like, all right, whatever. So fuck it. Just spend all this money. Give me an open world Star Wars original trilogy game. Obviously add parts to it, so I can play things that weren't in the movies, but let me still go on the journey as Luke. I can change characters. I can be Han sometimes or whatever, and spend the money. Let me have that. Right? That's what I think most people would be overjoyed to play, just Star Wars with the characters they love and the story they love, without all this horseshit. The last thing I'll say, then I will go to the chat, is this little character, Nix, they got running around with. We've seen this kind of character before. He's the cute, scrappy little sidekick, and we're supposed to love him. And by the end, if they kill him, oh no, we're crying. Video games are art. Maybe that's all true. I would love for once one of these characters, like halfway through, to like twist and reveal it. Remember Yoda in Empire, where you first thought he was just this wacky, know-nothing idiot, but he was cute in a weird way, like an old man's ball sack cute. Oh shit, did I say that out loud? Anime hearts. And you thought Yoda was going to be a wacky sidekick comedy character. I'd like Nix to be that at first, and then suddenly he just starts talking, and she's like, fuck, you can talk? And he's like, bitch, I've been able to talk. It would be great if he had this total 70s blaxploitation accent. Like, bitch, I've been able to talk since the beginning. I just been sizing you up to see what a fucking whore you are. Come on, that would be great. Anyway, let's go to the chat. What do you guys think? Am I being too hard? Am I being too hard on the his name is Old Scroat, says Gravedigger. That's right. Am I being too fucking hard on this thing or what? Do you think it looks amazing? Gays are talking about God of War demo. What? Okay, the animal sidekicks are a classic and need a comeback. Yeah, Atticus, but we see them all the time. Don't miss the super chat. I'll go to the super chat again. If you want to call in, talk live, excellent, wonderful. K-Nubs, thank you, buddy. He's been a member for 3 months. He says this game was only revealed at most 2 years ago. If so, that's refreshing not to have to wait forever for a nice looking AAA game. I agree. And they did say that they're coming out on the 30th of August, which, as far as I know, it's possible that this game could have been delayed 50 times, but we just hadn't heard about it. But assuming that it's not, and it's not delayed, granted, they are building off the bones of a very well-trodden, skeleton. That makes no sense what you just said, but you know what I'm saying? It's a path well-traveled, not just for Ubisoft, but for Massive. If you look at how the Division 1 and 2 came out, and obviously Avatar, so that helps a lot. But you're right, though. It's nice to not have to wait forever and then delay after delay after delay. But ultimately, my question to you guys is does the game look compelling? Does it look good? Now, listen, Big Afro Man has walked in with his big afro, and he says, Jaffe, while you're waiting to gather the feedback from the chat about what they think of the new Star Wars, I want to gift 2 memberships to the David Jaffe Gavin and Games Live charity event. There's no charity. It's just me. It's me and the dog. But the point is, thank you, Big Afro Man. I appreciate that generosity. I wish more people could be like you, but come on, let's be clear. You were the one Mom and Dad loved the most. Thank you, buddy. All right. I'm looking forward to playing Star Wars Assassin's Creed, says Darth Nugget. Wait, where'd it go? Sorry, fellas. Kyler says, I think it looks okay. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it could be really fun and solid, but I don't think it looks much more than, and it might be. We'll see. It's kind of a double-edged sword, says Milkmaster, because pumping more AAA games in a shorter amount of time usually results in worse games. I think most people would prefer waiting for a good game, or just not make it AAA. I mean, here, you guys know that Marvel's Midnight Suns did not perform, And we talked about this, or at least as expected, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. But now that I've been playing the shit out of Unicorn Overlord, I'm like, dude, you didn't need to spend all that money. The number of people who want to play a card-based strategy game is so small that they would have jumped at the chance. If you guys make Marvel Midnight Suns, but you make it like a fucking Square strategy game, you would have spent so much less money that you would have made profit and more profit at scale than you made now, especially given if you made profit at all. So I'm with you. I don't need a fucking AAA Star Wars game. Give me a goddamn Han Solo before he joined the rebellion when he was a vicious son of a bitch, and make it like a fucking fucking PS1 art style, and let me just fucking go to town, man. Okay. The game looks nice, says Geno Soul, but I don't know, is an open world. The bugs is okay. I don't really know what you're typing, sir. What kind of drugs are you on? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I'm hoping I can get some. I'm looking for ayahuasca or DMT. He says the game looks nice. Maybe you in the chat can help me decipher this, but I don't know. Is a open world the bugs of bugs is of are my warning? Don't tell you, buddy. I hope you're going to be okay. Hope you're going to be okay. Joker says, I would 100% play a Far style game in the Star Wars universe. What sounds like that's what you're getting. John Nada says it looks promising, but I have tempered expectations with anything regarding Star Wars. Yeah, I agree. It does make me want to go back though and watch more Star Wars. Like I haven't watched the Ashoka series. I haven't watched all of Andor. So I'm kind of jonesing for Star Wars again. I was thinking today, you know what they should have done though? If I was J.J. Abrams, that would be awesome. But if I was J.J. Abrams, I would just stay home all day and play with my mystery box. Yeah, when you're a comedic genius, everything feels good. You think Ginger Prime thinks he's a comedic genius? I don't think so. He's working it though. I respect that about him. Says some terribly transphobic thing. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. Point being, I'm thinking about Rise of Skywalker. What's the last one they put out? In the 9. It was Last Jedi, Rise Skywalker. You know what they should have done? If they wanted to kind of fix everything from 2, which I didn't have a problem with 2, but I know a lot of people did, and Abrams tried to fix it. They should have just said, okay, make Luke the guy that was the clone. Make the guy who he's been on that island, which he's not really been on the island all these years. He's been captured. They made this clone to bring the rebels out of hiding. So you can bring Palpatine back and say that, yeah, he wanted to get his granddaughter, and this was the way to expose her, to bring her down so he could come back without resistance that he knew she could build up. That would have worked. But the idea that Luke just stopped being Luke. There's a terrible motion picture. It's terrible. Rob the Mod says pee pee poo poo. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Okay. What is the PS4 game behind me? There's a PS4 game behind me? Where are you looking? Excuse me, fellas. I don't see a PS4 game behind me. No, this is an Atari 2600 game of Twisted Metal. But if anybody knows what he's talking about, please let me know. I'm not sure what he's saying. Okay. The cat game Andrew says, I'm definitely interested in the game, but everyone knows Star Wars fans just want a new pod racing game. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't give a fuck about the pod racing, man. I saw what you said, Rob the Mod. Okay, let me keep going, fellas. Okay. That would have been better, and Rey is very cute. I'm telling you something. I don't know where all the hate is coming from Rey about, because she's like, yeah, I'm making a new one, but a lot of people don't get it, or they don't like Rey and all this shit. And I'm like, Rey's awesome. She's hot. And that's not all that's important, but she's hot. Darth Nugget says they screwed up with number 7. The dipshits never gave us a proper reunion. Number 7? What do you mean number 7? You mean with the what was the first one? What was that called? Rise of what the fuck is the J.J. Abrams first one called? Star Wars, whatever, you know the one I'm talking about, where they introduced the new characters. Yeah, they didn't, but I guess what they had hoped is they would spread it out in the Force Awakens, and then Last Jedi or whatever these names, Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and then Rise of Skywalker, they'd all come together, but I don't think so. That was dumb. Okay. I have fuck you. Okay. Anyway, there you go. So Star Wars, that's the big news in games today. That's what's out. Let me bring in Ravnos real quick, and then we'll move on to some other stories. Here we go. Adding Ravnos to the stage. What's up, Ravnos?
Hey, so
Hey.
Here's my issues with the Star Wars Outlaws.
Mhm.
The trailer didn't really say much about anything, and then it just threw in member berries. And I have been loving Andor. Like,
Mhm.
I think literally Andor is the best Star Wars that's ever existed. Like, sorry, I loved the original trilogy, but Andor is better written than George Lucas could ever hope to write. Just a fact.
Yeah.
And
I don't think
this looked like it might be going that route. And this new trailer says, oh, never mind. They're just going to toss in member berries. And
What other member berries did you see other
Jabba.
than Han and Carbonite?
The Han and Carbonite, Jabba the Hutt. And she's supposed to be in the Outer Rim. Sorry, Tatooine's not in the Outer Rim.
Okay,
Like, what are they doing?
Clearly having sex with women, something you're not, because you know the actual location of Tatooine.
I just know it's not in the Outer Rim.
Is
like,
that
I'm
okay?
not like a huge nerd. I've never
I beg to differ, sir.
No, I mean,
but
Star
that's
Wars nerd. Star Wars.
That
nerd.
said, though, I'm a nerd. I don't care.
No, I've never read a Star Wars book like the novels that are like, oh, look, these are the unofficial, official, non-official. Disney killed them. Now they don't exist books. It's just.
Here's the point, though. Forget the member berries, Ravnos. As a game, and as somebody who has worked in the game business, I'm not kink shaming him. What do you think? Do you think it looks like a fun game?
Well, they didn't really show any gameplay with this new trailer.
No,
it was all like cutscenes. Let's put it this way. The original 10 minutes they showed at the Keighley Summerfest or whatever the hell it was looked amazing. Like, as in just, okay, this is cool because it doesn't look too much like Far Cry, which I like Far Cry. And it also doesn't look like Assassin's Creed with guns. It kind of looked more of like, what if we took The Division and made it more action-packed? You know, like had vehicles and
which
stuff.
Totally makes sense. Yeah.
Totally.
Given the developer.
And then after seeing this trailer, my hype for the game just kind of dropped because I'm just seeing the signs that they're going to fumble the story.
Well, if you want your hype to drop even more, which I don't know why you would want to, read the Game Informer article, because it really just sounds like just generic, been there, done that, you know?
Yeah, so. I was hoping it would be more like Andor. It's like, hey, it exists in this time period. So of course you're going to see TIE fighters. You're going to see Star Destroyers. I'm fine with that. But like, stay away from all the known like people. So that's like, hey, look, we exist in the galaxy at this time, but we're not going to focus on member berries. Like, oh, look, it's Han and Carbonite. Oh my God, was that Chewie? Oh, there's a reference to R2. You know what I mean? It's like, do your own thing.
No, I got you. And I look, Gino Soul says we need a gameplay trailer. Sure. And look, I will be one of the first people to say, oh, the worm has turned. If the gameplay looks as good or better than it did in the Keighley show, and I'm sure it will, but it's just when you read the article, it just sounds like everything they want you to do after the WoW wears off. It's like, I've done that 1,000 times in games. But certainly the gameplay it's going to live or die by that, because it certainly ain't going to be the story based on what we saw today. All right, man. Thanks for calling. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
I don't expect a great story, says Darth Nugget. Not even as good as the Jedi Respawn games. Yeah, possibly. I could see that. They're not going to release gameplay because they know they'll end up losing sales, says Milkmaster. I don't know if that's accurate. What they showed at the Game Awards or whenever it was genuinely great. I mean, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was like, oh shit, open world Star Wars. We've been wanting that. So I don't, unless they have nothing else to show, like I want to see some of the space shit, or I want to see some of the what makes the stealth and combat or working with Nyx more interesting. But again, they're like, hey, we're rolling this out. You'll see the gameplay soon enough. You'll see the game soon enough. Comes out in fucking a couple of months, for God's sake. So like 5 months, something like that. Phoebe says it's just a story trailer. If the gameplay is good, I can tolerate generic story. Sure, I can too. Okay. All right. Let us move forward with some other news that is happening in the world of the gaming world. Jedi. Hang on. Oh, by the way, if you were curious, I don't know if you are, but I like this. Like I said, I have resubscribed to, well, not resubscribed. I don't know if I ever subscribed to it, but I have, I subscribed to the Game Informer paper edition. I have the digital edition. Just because I miss reading game magazines, and this is the one that just came out today. So hopefully it'll be the first issue I get. But if you're curious what the reviews were this month, here you go. Then we'll move forward. They gave Dragon's Dogma 2 a much deserved 9, in my opinion. They gave Unicorn Overlord an 8.5. Seems fair. Rise of the Ronin, I haven't played. They gave it a 7. Princess Peach Showtime, a 7.5. Balatro, which I know some of you guys in the chat have been talking about, are absolutely, they gave a great 9.5. I played the shit out of the demo. I own the full game, haven't played it yet, but it's pretty much the same as the demo because the demo came out like a month before the game dropped. Absolutely wonderful game. Highly recommended if you like stuff like this. WWE got a good score, 8.5. MLB The Show, 8.5, good score. Pepper Grinder, which is excellent. I started playing that last night. Got an 8. It is one of the most interesting platform games that I've played in at least a decade. I do not think in any way, shape, or form Contra Operation Galuga should be getting an 8. Certainly not when Pepper Grinder is, but there we are. Penny's Big Breakaway got a 7. There you go. Okay. I hated card games, says Serial Swimming, till I played Balatro. Yeah, it's really, really good. And a lot of people, the potentially unfortunate thing about that game is that a lot of people are going to see the poker skin and go, oh, I don't like poker, or I don't know how to play poker. And it's like, it's not really, I mean, it is poker, but it's not like, it's very clever. It's very, very clever. Okay. Are print magazines still a thing? Well, no, that's why I wanted to subscribe to one. I mean, there's a little bit more over in the UK and Europe in general. They still have a bit of an industry there for that, but certainly in America, man, no. I mean, there's Game Informer is still printed, but they did a big push recently and said, hey, help us keep this going, and I didn't do it to help them. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but it seems like I did it because I genuinely want the excitement of reading magazines again instead of just reading it on a computer screen. Okay. Technically, Starfield has infinite tech fetch quests, so Starfield's biggest issue for me is the terrible illusion of agency. Oh, okay, you're talking about compare. Okay, let's move forward. Hey, I saw this today. Somebody in the chat put it. It might have been Nugget. Darth Nugget might have put this up, but it's not much news. There's really no news, but it's just kind of cool to see. Here's the screen for Assassin's Creed that leaked. It kind of confirms you're playing 2 characters. It confirms that what we already knew, that you're playing I think it's a Shogun or I don't really get I know the difference between a Ronin and a samurai. I don't know the difference between a Shogun and a samurai. But the point is, it's in that world. I think you also play a ninja. A lot of interesting things happening at Ubisoft. They just got rid of, or she left after 10 years. She was kind of the head of their portfolio management and sort of audience appeasement. And apparently they say that she, in the 10 years that she was there, was a really big name at Ubisoft and a big force at sort of pushing this player first mentality, but you wouldn't know it because, the last 10 years, Ubisoft has gone from being one of the most creative third-party publishers to being, just generic open world cookie cutter shit. And they have made a big noise about wanting to improve that. And I don't know, none of the people who reported on this, they're like, we know there was a power struggle within Ubisoft around this role. We don't know what she was pushing for, and she got pushed out because of it. So no one really knows what her role has been in making Ubisoft what it was in the last 10 years, but it doesn't sound good. So maybe this is a good thing. So if this is just a reskin of Odyssey with, ancient Japan shit, I'm over it. But we'll see. What is that now? Somebody in the chat, who is this? Says, Tripmug says, Tripomug, sorry, fellas, says, setting theme-wise, I'm much more interested in AC Hex. What is AC Hex? Does anybody know what he's talking about? Most don't like the Ubisoft jank. I don't think it's the jank, Capono, that most people don't like. I'm sure that might be true, but I think it's just, and the games sell great. They sell fucking phenomenally well. But I know hardcore gamers are tired of them just because they seem to be just the same shit over and over and over. Most people just shit on the graphics based on screenshots from before. Oh, you're talking about, yeah, sorry, fellas. How many AC games they're making? I never knew about Hex. I still don't know about Hex. I don't know what he's talking about. Never heard of it. Hex, what is that? They just need to go back to the old Assassin's Creed formula. Well, they did that, by the way, right? They did it with, what was the one that came out a couple of months ago? Oh, there's a witch one? Oh, shit. There's a witch one? That does sound cool. Hang on. Now I got to look that shit up. There's a witch one? Okay, that's fun. I'm in. Hang on. God damn it. Fucking Ubisoft French fucks. Hang on. Assassin's Creed Hex. That's a cool setting. I mean, it's kind of like Banishers, I guess. Assassin's Creed codename Hex. I didn't even know about that. You guys scooped me. Darkest offering yet. Well, look at her. That's all we got, though, is just okay, cool. I'm in. The Witch as an assassin. Cool. Mirage is not a return to the formula, says Addy Pie. It's just less filler. All right, well, whatever. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's not my, I've played a little bit of a lot of these, but I've never gotten close to finishing one. I lose interest very, very quickly in these games. So, the phone one, Hex is a phone game. Ugh, I just love the setting though. Setting's great. Anyway, all right, let's move on. I got a question in the chat from Wooden's Throne. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. He says, Jaffe. Well, this is from the comments on YouTube. He says, hey, listen, motherfucker, I am curious. I like when he talks to me like that. It's like fun. Curious, Jaffe. What's your take on the creators of Stellar Blade firing back at Western game journalists and how Korean media in general are ripping them apart about basically complaining about the sexy ladies in that game and how Western game journalists have gone silent? I mean, I can't speak to, I'm familiar with the director of the game basically saying pretty much, hey, back off, man, to the journalist or to the criticisms. It's like, look, we like pretty ladies. The gamers like pretty ladies. Go fuck yourself. He didn't say that, but that was the gist. And I'm familiar with some articles from Korea. I want to say one was GQ Korea, but maybe that's wrong, where they're kind of like saying, dude, the women look this way. What are you talking about? Right. I mean, GQ telling people what men and women look like is rich, but still, I mean, they have a point. Now we know it's based off a model. And then we also know that IGN Italy, I think, put out an apology when they criticized the game, going, women don't look this way. And it's like, dude, she's based off a real woman. What are you talking about? But short of that, I haven't really heard anything. What I can tell you is, was it Maxim? Okay. Maxim is worse than GQ when it comes to, properly or not properly, but when it comes to realistically representing the way men and women both look. But that said, I got no issues with it. I think it's great. As long as there's a balance in other games. But the bigger point though is about when you're saying games journalists have gone silent, Wooden's Throne. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they just don't have much to write about, but what I will say that I can contribute to this conversation is I was really surprised that Sony, and I'm not going to tell you who it was, but Sony, I may have mentioned this before, but I still didn't tell you who it was. When I went in to talk about sort of the failure that was drawn to death, I was very surprised to hear some key executives at Sony lay a lot of the blame on the failure of that game at the feet of games journalists that were, I would not call woke, but what you guys would call woke. And it's like, whether they like the game or not, like, if there were articles you could read, like reviews from Polygon, that they clearly had issues with the game, but they understood what the game wanted to be and they didn't take issue with that. But then there were other reviews that Sony was saying, yeah, man, it's these fucking super far left journalists up in San Francisco that really hammered it. Which is fine. That's their right. I don't care. But my point, though, is if Wooden's Throne, you're saying that game journalists have gone silent over this, perhaps what's happened is, either they're gearing up for a counterpunch, or they're like, yeah, we are not used to people actually pushing back that are, bigger journalist outlets than we are. I have no clue. Addie Pie says there's no cherry picking. It's the thought that a woman can't look like Eve because less attractive people want more representation. I think that's as basic a take as their take. Frankly, Addie Pie, I think there is a valid complaint that one can make, and an important valid complaint that says that media representation, when it comes specifically to women in most media, tends to be unrealistic in the sense that the women are always portrayed in a lot of the media to look like they're there as a snack for the men. It doesn't mean women don't look like that. Of course they do. It doesn't mean that's not great when they look like that. But the initial pushback I was supportive of, and I remain supportive of the idea of going, we need more realistic representation all across the media. What I don't agree with is the fact that that means now we don't get any of the fun stuff, whether it's realistic, but more male gazy or lesbian gazy. Lesbian gazy, she works down at the 7-Eleven down the street. She's studying for the law degree, but I think she's really a good artist. I've seen her doodling. She's an excellent artist. I think that's where her real passion is. But her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gazy, are just kind of like, dude, you got to have something to fall back on. Anyway, the point is, if I have one at all, is that I don't even know what I was talking about. It's totally I have a whole fantasy now in my head of lesbian gazy. The point is, though, is I think there is absolutely wonderful space for realistic overt sexuality and unrealistic cartoony overt sexuality, and not a goddamn thing's wrong with it. People are just a bunch of fucking idiots. David Jaffe says, Ravnos, it is a false narrative. They use Mary Jane from Spider-Man, but pretend Black Cat doesn't exist. By the way, I didn't even think that Mary Jane was that bad. Trust me, you don't have to tell me she was a fucking supermodel. I read the goddamn comics my whole life. I saw the J. Scott Campbell covers with Mary Jane washing Spider-Man's tights. She looks like a little delightful thing. But I just thought she looked like a normal woman. But I hear you. Yeah. I don't think she looks like a granny. Whatever, let's move on. But anyway, Wooden, there's my answer, baby. There's my answer, good sir. This is old news, but I only saw it recently, and I want to see if you guys know anything about this. This is coming from a Resident Evil fan, and it says the claim lacks resources. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. Creating a 3D, blah, blah, blah. Basically, somebody is suggesting Capcom is going to be putting out a Resident Evil 1 remake, which I think would be fucking delightful. This is not a brand new thing, but it just never crossed my radar. Have you guys seen this? And has this been officially debunked, or people don't really know what to think about this? Is what I would like to know, because I would love an RE2, RE3 style remake of Resident Evil 1. And I know they have Resident Evil HD and it's great, blah, blah, blah. But you know what I'm talking about. Third person, over the shoulder, top of the line graphics, additions to it. We don't have one already. We absolutely don't have one already. If you're talking about Resident Evil HD, that's not that. It's great. It is a remaster, but I'm talking, you know what I'm talking. Come on It's been defunct, but not debunked. I don't know what that means, but thank you, buddy. Okay, you're saying it's fake. Okay, but don't you think they're doing it? You know they're doing it regardless of it being fake. Anything, yeah, I mean, that would be great. That would be great. Okay. All right, I was just curious because I saw it. I didn't know what to think about this. What is this next story? Let's talk about this real quick. Well, let me go to the chat for a minute. Let me see what you guys want to talk about. Then we'll get back to this. One moment, my dear friends. Oh, well, somebody was asking about this. Somebody mentioned this. Oh my God, relax on the God of War news. I'll get to it. God damn, Godslayer. Eddie T says it would be dumb because the mansion would have to be redesigned since it's too claustrophobic. So what? What does it matter? I mean, you're telling me, Eddie T, if the same talented team that did the remakes of 2 and 3 were like, we want to bring that narrative and those characters and a handful of those big moments, but we want to bring it into the RE1, RE2 world just because, I mean, does it have to, I guess my question to you is, does it have to be a 1-to-1 retelling or you just have zero interest? I don't understand. I don't understand that. RE5, I haven't played RE5. So, I mean, that's fine. Totally fine if that's your take. But for me, I'd be like, no, I want to see that in a different way, in a different light. Somebody was asking earlier, listen to this. The guy who is running Saber Interactive, they're making the Warhammer games. This is a really confusing quote he gave. Film Gamer, by the way, says, I will jizz all over the TV. I don't know if that's a threat or a promise. I don't know who you're talking to. If they remake it in the RE2-3 style. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay. Anyway, so this is the Saber guy. He says $70 games won't be sustainable forever, Saber Interactive CEO says. I think that as games become more expensive to make, the $70 title is going to go the way of the dodo, is what he told me. He didn't tell me that. He told GameSpot that. He says, I don't think it's sustainable, but here's what's weird is it sounds like at first he's talking about the prices are going to go up. Tell me what you think he's saying in this quote, because I don't fully understand. When expectations are so high and so much money is put into one title, it's hugely risky for the company that's doing it. I think the market is going to shift to development, which is not necessarily lower quality, but there's going to be an emphasis on trying to find ways to reduce cost. So I don't know if he's saying that the $70 game is going to go away because it's not sustainable. They need to be $90, or he's saying that one of the reasons maybe that a lot of these games aren't performing that well is because $70 is a 10 spot too high. And we got to figure out how to bring the prices back down. But he does go on to say he doesn't want to sell his new game, Space Marine 2, at $70, but he has to. He says, for now, the challenge lies in pursuing consumers. God damn it, Jaffe. Persuading consumers that a lower launch price isn't a sign of poor quality. He says Helldivers 2 has excelled at it. He cited that game as a prime example of a middle market game that has performed not just well, he said, but I'm saying exceedingly well, is an example of the direction he wants Saber Interactive to follow. So hopefully he's saying that he thinks they can get the prices lower. He says AI could potentially help lower production cost and improve quality in the AAA space. But on its own, he says it's not enough to dramatically reduce the rising production budgets. Now, I thought that was interesting. I'd love to see a return. You guys know that, to middle A, double A games. Some people take issue, though, with what he's saying about the AI, because this story broke yesterday. I want to show you this. Yeah, Space Marine does look really cool. Yeah, Bad Robo says AI will significantly reduce cost. You're goddamn right. Speaking of, check this out. So this is a card game developer says it paid an AI artist $90,000 to generate card art because they put AI artist in quotes, because no one comes close to the quality he delivers. Okay, I don't know about that, but they did. They basically paid the game called Champions of Otherworldly Magic, which I'll show you in a second. They paid this guy $15,000 a month to basically use some AI program. He says they say we pay our AI guy $15,000 US dollars per month for 10 hours of work. Why, they say, in that time, he still makes hundreds of amazing bits of artwork astronomically faster than any team of traditional artists. They go on to say, his art is 100% AI generated, yet it has no extra fingers, no generic designs, no mistakes. It has consistent evolutions, skins, all art styles. Literally no one is on his level. We don't care how he makes it. So, assuming it's legal. We only care that in the end, the users enjoy our game. Right. And I bring this up because, and here's the game. I downloaded it and I played it because I wanted to see what it was. And what I did like about it was you can play the whole fucking thing in a browser. That's fun. But I'll show it to you. Let me sign in real quick. But you know, a lot of people will go on and on and on about, oh no, you know, AI is not going to do that. And you hear these developers give all this dumb lip service, like, or publishers, no, we won't do that. Of course they'll do that. And this is just the beginning. Of course they'll do that. And so would you. No, they don't look like shit, Addy Pie. They look good enough for what this game is, right? They look good enough for what this game is. Yes, it's a digital trading card game. This is where it begins. Because ultimately, when you've got a developer who's clearly a small developer, and they're like, well, we can either ship our game or not, but if we ship it, we're going to basically do it with AI art. Well, you know, you would do it too. Why would you not do it? These are fine. Are you really going to, if this is, it's not a great game, by the way. It is a poor man's Hearthstone, basically, with a little bit of Magic Gathering thrown in. Maybe it gets better. I played it for like 5 rounds last night, and the monetization was terrible and all this blah, blah, blah. But if I was into this game, or if somebody came out with a Hearthstone card that looked like this, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, and neither would you. Neither would you. Yes, it is. Guys, yes. You're missing the point. Yeah, Rapno says it looks like a generic ripoff of Hearthstone Cash Grab. It is that. It most likely is that. But that's not the point. The point is the person who enjoys this game, if it was good, would not care. And my point is, if you played games like this, nor would you, is all I'm saying. And that's all. I only bring it up because I get really frustrated when I see these, let me shut this down. When I see these publishers, you know, officially saying, oh, no, we're not going to do that. And it's like, come on, man. Come on, man. You guys know the minute this stuff becomes affordable to do, you'll be first in line. Stop lying about it. Stop fucking lying about it. AI creations can't be copywritten or trademarked, though, says Gun. Well, again, this is I always support AI art in the sense that it has to be legal, right? And so if there is a law that gets passed, and I think there probably should be, that there is a training on AI where the people who own the rights to what they train on is not purchased the license, then I think that's a problem. And that there should be, and I'm sure there will be, a law coming down the line sooner than later. And then I think you'll start seeing the artists get paid, and or you'll start seeing the actual companies, like Adobe does this already, where they'll just hire their own artists and say, we'll train off your stuff. Go draw something that looks like Todd McFarlane. Okay, we've got that. Thanks for your service. Here's your money, right? But listen to this, though. This is what's interesting about it, though, is somebody in the chat, you know, Addy Pie says, yes, they would. You play Snap because you love the art. No, that's not why I play Snap. But I will tell you, you know, and I think we talked about this recently on the stream, but I'll just show you real quick if you weren't watching it. This art fooled everybody, including me. And I posted it at first because I was like, holy shit, I've never seen the Marvel characters look as good or in this style. I thought it was really cool. And then it turned out that it was really cool, but it was all AI art. And then people were kind of like, what? It's this stuff. What? Hang on. right here. So this is all AI. And it's fucking delightful, man. It's just really good. There's one with Spider-Man. How do I find my post? Let's see. There we go. There's what's that guy's name? Colossus. We get the Spider-Man one. So look, man, if that was in Marvel Snap, you think I'd complain? Come on, Gambit's never looked cooler. Come on now. Okay. I sometimes says Serial Swimming use Midjourney for concept art. It generates like no other, and I tend to take liberty in the design. Yeah, no, it's getting better and better, and that's just the way it's going to be. Phoebe says, why pay artists when AI can do it? Yeah. I mean, yeah. And Ravno says it just sucks to be an artist. One artist can use AI to replace a team. Yes, I agree. But there's still talent required, right? There's still money to be made, but I still think we need to go to universal base income, blah, blah, blah. It's a totally different thing. It's not that I don't care about the job loss, but they're different topics. Okay. Let's move on though. Let's move on. Well, let me get this because he bothered to type the whole thing. Not that that's the criteria, but I'm going to read it anyway. Try It Mug over on the Twitch says, no, is it Twitch? Twitter? He's on Twitch. The ethical debate is basically moot because it's too late. We're going down this road and it's ultimately no different than a whole bunch of advances that put people out of work over the last century. However, it does make me sad, and it's a shame that the AIs are only this good because they were trained on the work of people who trained all their lives to do this shit by hand, and now they'll be out of a job. Yeah. There's the emotional component to it, but again, that's if you're going to complain about that, then you got to complain about all automation that's been happening, for now, well, to some extent over a century. Okay. Why do you hate Irish people? Says Grant. Oh my God. I do long streams, but I don't have the time to go into it. There's just too many reasons. I love potatoes. Isn't that it's not even racist. I just genuinely love potatoes. Listen to this. Dr. Grant, if you're not involved in the field, it's very easy to say who gives a shit until it's your field under attack, says Milkmaster. No, it's people misunderstand my position on this. At a human level, of course, I think it's terrible. And I've always bracketed the comment. That's not the word I've always scaffolded. Fuck it. I've always also said when I'm talking about it, that everything from universal base income to actual laws to make sure people aren't getting ripped off who are the artists that this AI trains on. Of course, that's going to be difficult and problematic, but we are living in a world where we are doing this fucking live show, communicating with each other on this amazing technology. And it's been built on the shoulders of people who have been exploited because of it. And is that terrible? Yes. Is capitalism unregulated an absolute monster that will probably wipe out the human race? Yes. But let's have that conversation, but let's not just act all like, oh, it's about the artist. I mean, get in line for people who have lost their livelihoods and had to figure it out. It's horrible, but that's our society. Okay. Yeah, Darth Nugget says, you said this was pre-recorded earlier. I'm out of here. That's right. Okay. Sorry, I was just looking at the chat. All right, let's move on. I want to bring this up real quick. We'll get to the God of War story. It's not even a big story, but it is because they're definitely making a new one. How about that? At least that's my take, and I'll tell you why I think that. But this is interesting to me. So in a lot of the complaints or all the layoffs that have been happening in games, and it's becoming so hard to make money, and so our risk have to be really limited and all this. A lot of it's the cost, of course. Most of it's the cost. But you know what's weird that I don't hear anyone talking about? And maybe it's because it's not relevant, but I think it's quite relevant. And I didn't notice this until I was looking at the last batch and the new batch of PlayStation Plus games. Okay. I want you to look at what you can get if you subscribe to PlayStation Plus, I think this is also keeping people from buying games as it's designed to. So I love it, and I would hate for it to go away, but I do wonder about that, and I wonder why we don't hear much about that. So last month you had, I mean, both GameSpot, Game Pass and PlayStation had NBA 2K24, which I hear isn't very good, but whatever. Then you've got Midnight Suns, which if you like that kind of game, it's excellent. It's a very big budget game. And obviously Resident Evil 3 was on there as well. This month you've got this brand new game they just announced, which I don't know if this is going to be a good game or not. It looks kind of like the new Prince of Persia, but with this dude. This is day one on PlayStation. It's called Tales of Kinzara Zao, April 23rd. You've got Immortals of Avium and Minecraft Legends, both very big games. Avium didn't sell well, not because it wasn't good, but because most people were like, it's $70, single player game. I'll wait for a discount, right? Then you've got one of the best games of last year coming on this month, Dave the Diver. All of these are hitting in April, PlayStation Plus. And it just makes me wonder how much of the challenges some of these publishers are having is the fact that, and again, I'm not knocking it. If they can make it work financially, great. I love this, but can you imagine? And then like even Evil West just dropped on the services, and it's like that was a game that I don't remember what they sold it for, maybe $50, maybe $60, but that's a game that is excellent as well, that I think would have never sold at full price or even at $50 because there's just too much to play. And so if you're somebody, you get a PlayStation 5 tomorrow, you've never bought one, you decide to pull the trigger, you buy one, and you just sign up for $19 or whatever it is a month. Why, other than a couple of games that you've got your eye on that aren't on the service, why would you buy anything? I'm serious. I'm asking. Mo says, dude, it's such a badass time to be a gamer. Imagine growing up and seeing this come to fruition. I know. I cannot fathom as a kid, I would salivate over getting a new Atari cartridge, a couple, like 5 times a year if I was lucky. And this is just like, oh, welcome to our biggest buffet of fucking video games. You've not heard of Immortals of Avium? I'm not going to bore you with it. It's out now if you have PlayStation Plus or one of the tiers, but it did not do well. The company, I think, laid off a bunch of people, but it was basically Call of Duty. It's from EA. It was Call of Duty with magic, like Lord of the Rings meets Call of Duty, basically, right? Here, I'll just show it to you while we're talking in the background. I won't turn on the sound or anything. Okay, here we go. Just walk through. So this is it on PlayStation 5. Let me get to some action stuff. Okay. So it's a shooter, but it's with magic and shit, right? It's the kind of thing that, you understand why it wouldn't sell at a $70 price or even a $50 price, not because it's not good, but because there's too much stuff that's at that price that is kind of taking all the oxygen out of the room. Yeah, you added Immortals to your game library, says Kyler. Yeah, Immortals had an update as well, says awesome, improved HDR and visuals performance on PS5. This is what I'm saying. So I'm just asking you guys, do you think that part of one of the reasons it's becoming so difficult in the industry to sustain is because of PS Plus, because of Game Pass, because of, just a much, much, much smaller extent. I wouldn't even say Luna. Let's just say Game Pass, and let's just say PlayStation. Again, I don't mean the day one AAA sustainable stuff. I'm talking about just these are games that have already come out and tried to make their money. And I think players are just getting conditioned to go, oh, if it's not the next big fucking thing, unless it's like from Xbox, because they'll put whatever their big things are day one. I'll just wait for a couple of weeks or a month or two, and there's a million other things to play. Do you think that's cutting into it is my question. listen, Brett Williams, hey buddy, he says, Jaffe, it's been a while. I'm getting tired of all these YouTube and TikTok videos talking about how bad gaming is. I've been gaming since 86 and it's better now than ever. All I can tell you about that, Brett, is here's the deal with that, right? I can't speak for why these other channels do what they do. I can tell you why I do what I do. I mean, when I put out videos that are like, for example, I'm going to put out a video probably tomorrow. And the video is going to just be, I think I'm calling it like Games Less Traveled or something. It's basically going to be like a video series of games that have come out in the last 2 weeks that are really cool that no one's talking about, but are still really, really fucking cool. I'm with you 1,000% that gaming right now is better than it's been ever. It is phenomenal. But whenever I put out videos that are not negative, they barely perform. And it's not that I have to have them all perform. That's why I'm like, you know what? I'm willing to do like 60% where things just do middling. But I'm gonna lead, if it bleeds, it leads from time to time, because that's what people click on. It's the algorithm. I hate it. But no, I'm with you 1,000%. I think games right now are better than they've been. I mean, the fact that even this year, 2024, Dragon's Dogma 2 is a goddamn classic. Unicorn Overlord is a goddamn classic. There's just so much good shit. I don't agree with that, Milkmaster. My guess is that that's nostalgia talking. He says gaming was way better back in 2014 during the PS3 era. My guess would be that you were of a certain age, like you were young enough that it was your real formative years. Because I don't know what games you're talking about that were like better than today's games. There were some, sure, but I don't know. About your assessment. I've always wondered, says Dr. Grant, I'm not going to read that. If everyone on Earth leapt in the ocean, we'd flood the world. You've always wondered about that? Let me tell you something. I saw, I guess it was a tweet on a thing called creepy.org or something. It's just weird facts. They said if you took every human on Earth and you ground everybody up into like mincemeat and made a meatball out of us, it would basically fill up Central Park, but that's it. I'm surprised how small that meatball would be. That's all I'm saying. I've been playing games since 83, says Death Proof, and games are better than ever. I agree. I don't care about frame rate, never experience bugs and glitches because I play a game rather than release date. Sure. Well, I care about them when they hurt the gameplay, but for me, that's rare. That's absolutely rare. I think, I've had absolutely no problem. I love gaming. I'm playing. I mean, there's too much to play is my only complaint. I've actually started to think that I am. Oh no, I got to address this. I'm sorry, real quick. Himix says 99% player base is Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, and garbage like that. And you want to tell me gaming isn't dead? LMFAO. They should just get. Oh, I'm not. I don't even know if I should address this because it's so clearly a troll. If the chat wants me to address this, I'll leave the comment up and I'll address it, but I can't imagine this guy's not trolling. So nothing will ever beat getting my C64 and about 500 pirated games. Yeah, but that's nostalgia. That's nostalgia. Okay. Ravno says address it. Referable says don't. Referab says don't. The next person who says what I should do is what I'll do. Do it, address it. He has a point. It's CR in disguise. You can tell by the clink. Yeah, probably. Okay, fine. I'll address it briefly. First off, let's be clear. If you think Roblox or Minecraft, if you think Fortnite or Minecraft are garbage, then you're a fucking moron or you haven't really spent any time with either of those in the last couple of years. Minecraft is an absolute delightful, creative video game. Fortnite is one of the best shooters on the market. All you know probably is the stupid little dances and ninja and all that, and that's fine. But what you should do is say, I'm going to take a seat because I haven't played it in 5 years. But if you play Fortnite now. It is one of the best shooters on the market. There are multiple modes. There are user-created modes that put a lot of games out there that are more big boy games when it comes to those modes to shame. It's just a ridiculous statement to say that that game is not a genuinely great game. Roblox, for what it is excellent, but it's kind of like complaining that people's blogs aren't as good as a Stephen King novel. It's like, it's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. No, gaming is absolutely not dead. I am looking forward to Elden Ring Godslayer, but I will tell you, I'm kind of getting to a point where I'm having to start deleting games off my hard drive that I don't think I'm ever going to finish. I don't think the first Elden Ring, which I'm close to, is going to be that. I think I will finish it, but I don't want to play the DLC till I finish it. And right now I'm all wrapped up in Dragon's Dogma and Unicorn and some other stuff. Bad Robo says, if you think Dreams is a shitty game, you've lost your mind. I don't know who he's talking to, but no, Dreams is a brilliant, wonderfully made product, but it is an absolute shitty service as it relates to what I think it should have been to be sustainable and successful. Listen to this. El Guapo, thank you, buddy. He says, did the Star Wars Outlaws trailer increase or decrease my anticipation? It decreased it. The trailer, and then more importantly, we covered a lot of that at the beginning of the show, but basically the trailer was super meh. It did nothing for me. And then the Game Informer article, which we also talked about in the stream, really kind of made me go, sounds super fucking generic. That said, though, I still want to play it because it's open world Star Wars and it's from a very good development team in terms of production and polish. And I'm sure it will be a solid, fun experience for the 5 or 6 hours I play until I get bored because I've seen it all before. So, there you go. That's what I would say. I don't understand. Blackjack says, Jaffe, you're thinking like an industry insider, not a consumer. I don't know what that means. And as it relates to what? Thank you, El Guapo. Did you pop for the Undertaker return at WrestleMania? I didn't see it. I saw it after the fact. I mostly watched the Logan Paul fight, a little bit of the Becky Lynch fight. I just went in the headspace. I was busy this weekend. Where'd Blake go? Where'd he go? Here you go. Hey, Blake, 34 months. I got to make some new little icons for people who've been on that long. Thanks, buddy. He says, modern day games are rarely finished at release. They have dumbed down tutorials to sometimes last for hours before the game begins. I need more space. I would agree if you change your text to say modern AAA games. You're mostly right about that. But that's simply not the case if you play outside of that realm. There are games that are deep and interesting and finished. And in fact, if you watch my new series, I think I'm going to call it Games Not Traveled, like Roads Not Traveled. Come on now, be impressed by me. Surprise, surprise. I'm controlling you all with this little. You'll see some games that are indeed like, wow, 2 people made that, 1 person made that, a team of 12 made that. It's like, yeah, really fucking good. So I think you're right, but I would push back on your assumption if you're talking about, unless you're just talking about AAA, is what I would say. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Zack Howell's been a member for 35 months. God damn, sir. That's some generosity and that's some dedication. I appreciate it, man. 1 more month and you and I are considered a long-term relationship. Is that right? 36 months is 3 years. Cool. Let's go get tacos, but I want vegan ones. I just want cheese in the shell. That's all I want. Gaming Today says Milkmaster is worse because all the good ideas have already been created. Watch my new series. No, not true. A lot of good, interesting stuff. Hell, I am playing a game. It's on Game Pass, but I played the demo. Okay, wait a minute. Blackjack says your take assumes the average player wants bad graphics. That's why you're an insider and not what the consumer wants. You're simply wrong. Okay, and here's how I can prove it. The games that were brought up earlier and just a couple of minutes ago, Fortnite, Fortnite looks good. So let's move Fortnite off the road. Roblox and Minecraft, two of the biggest games ever made, look like ass. Okay. One intentionally, the other just because whatever. So you're just wrong. Cell phone games sell. If you're talking console games, yeah, I think there is a large group of people who consider themselves console only gamers. And one of the reasons that they play games is the graphics. I think that what you just said is absolutely correct for those people. But I thought we were talking about games as an industry, which includes, I mean, the console market is comparatively speaking, it's like console, and then PC's a little bigger, and then mobile phone is huge, and then there's one more above that, but I don't remember what it is. But if you're just saying console, sure, yeah, I'm with you. But that's I love the art form, the medium. I don't give a fuck about what I play on. Okay. Okay, I want to show you something. Hang on. Lost my train of thought. Ravenous, I'm not going to bring you in anymore today because I already brought you in. I'll bring you in next time. But if anybody else wants to call in, it's at the top of the thing. Call in. Ravenous like, what the fuck? What am I? I'm like, well, yeah, but we already had you on. Okay. Let me go back to this next story here. I want to show you something. God of War. This is why there's a new God of War. Yeah, this story hasn't been reported bigly. This is actually from, I had to translate this from Argentina, actually. I didn't translate it. I asked the computer to do it. God of War Studio hires heavily for its next game. They're speculating, but it's pretty obvious. Sony's career website currently has 24 open positions for the studio, including important positions such as lead narrative animator, senior combat designer, senior character artist, senior tech producer, lead tools programmer, amongst others. Wooden's Throne, I literally talked about it, and I brought up your, hang on, I'll get back to God of War. But yeah, Wooden's Throne, I literally, this was earlier in the show. I brought up your question, and we answered it, and I'll timestamp this later, and you'll see it. Okay. But let me go to this. So God of War. Okay. Here's why we know, though. The description of the job says, so we know it's not like Corey's new IP game, which I have thoughts on, is developing the description of the job offer says the studio's developing an unannounced project. This project appears to be the sequel to God of War Ragnarok based on requirements. And this is what they wrote. If you read it, it says the senior combat design position, Sony specifically says it wants candidates who are fluent in the combat design choices, systems, mechanics, and enemies of God of War and God of War Ragnarok. They will be given preference. When studios, says the article, start hiring this way, it usually means production's moving forward, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes into other things that they need to know. So obviously this is not an official word, but this is absolutely very much, why else would they put it? Because then you'd have to assume Sony Santa Monica is turning around and making another game that's pretty much just like God of War, but it's not God of War. I don't think so. And they're going to make another God of War. What's been interesting is to read the comments. I think I linked from this to NeoGAF, so the comments were over there, I think. But what was interesting is to read those comments and go, wow, there's a lot of people who are like, can we give it a rest now? Continue. We want more God of War eventually, but can we possibly maybe let it hibernate for a couple of years or do something different, And somebody was like, it's weird that Naughty Dog always gets this shit for being the Last of Us studio, but Santa Monica has been making God of War for, almost 20 years. But I don't know. I mean, it makes money. Games are really risky these days. So I don't think they're going to put the brakes on this thing, but I definitely I thought God of War was getting long in the tooth with Ragnarok. If they do come back, I know they're not going to reinvent it like they did 2018, but it needs something for sure. As for new IP, I mean, I'm fascinated by this as it relates to Corey's IP, because I know he wanted to do a new one. My understanding is he is doing a new one, But given how risk averse the studios are now, 2018 with Sean Layden running ruling the roost, whatever, you know what I'm saying. Hello, Tentative was a different beast, right? You're coming off God of War, you're the flavor of the year, you're amazing, everybody loves you. And then you go to work on what you really want to make your dream game. I assume it's expensive. It may not be, but I assume it is. I wonder how much freedom, because he is Cory Barlog, he's being given versus going, hey, not to paraphrase Waiting for Guffman, you're a nice guy. We're all glad you're here, but what the fuck's the matter with you? I don't know if you saw that movie. It's a great movie. But anyway, it's like they might be going, okay, this needs to be a lot more mainstream and a lot less commercial, risky. Or maybe not. Maybe Corey's like, dude, I know that. And maybe Cory brought him the biggest summer fucking video game blockbuster of all time. Corey's a smart guy, probably did. But I am curious. I don't know, man. I don't know if you're talking now, these budgets are $300 million. I don't know if the time for your last game was a smash hit, go do whatever you want. I don't know if that's still a thing. Unless it's kind of tied to like Christopher Nolan, when Nolan was saying, yeah, you guys let me make, what was the movie? Inception, and I'll make you another Batman. Because they knew it's like, okay, Inception's not as expensive as Batman. We know Batman's going to make us tons of money. Inception, even if it's a bomb, it's not going to matter. I don't think we're seeing that in games, but I could be wrong. We'll see. Egypt would make zero sense if Sparta was long after the Egyptian. Oh, you're talking about setting? I would totally set it in Egypt. Absolutely. But I mean, I would have to, if I were to do another God of War, if it were me and they came to me and said, Jaffe, what do you want to do? Which they would never. And I don't blame them. I would really, I don't even know at this point. I mean, unless I was like, oh, okay, I want to make a Metroidvania 2.5D God of War. It wouldn't sell unless we made the budget low. I mean, it would sell the same, but it wouldn't make its money back. But that's not what they're interested in. They want it to, and in that, I don't know what God of War offers anymore. I mean, it's the mythology changes often, so you can't really say, oh, it's the game about this or that mythology. The character I don't find appealing anymore. I find him pretty boring. I don't really care for any of the co-stars. So what it's interesting though. Godslayer says, Jaffe, just make a remake of 1, 2, and 3. What I liked a lot about Valhalla. I loved, obviously, and part of it is I'm biased, but I thought it was really fun to be old school Kratos in those levels with this engine. So the idea of just saying, hey, let's remake God of War 1, but do the whole game like that section they did in Valhalla, where it was like parts of God of War 1 remade with the engine. I would say that'd be cool. I'd do that. But yeah, I don't think, if you're talking about Egypt though, I think nobody cares about. I mean, it's not like we're making a documentary film that we need to be signed off on by, ancient or experts in ancient literature. It doesn't matter. Egypt's just the same as Norse, just the same as Greek for most people. Even if Kratos grumps the entire game, he's still a badass as Godslayer. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people love him. I don't think my opinion on Kratos is where the mainstream is, but I'm over it. I'm over it. I love 2018. I got bored. Yeah, see, I don't care. Atticus says, old man Kratos is not boring. He represents the life changes we all face. I don't care. I'm not a moron. I understand what he represents. I understand the art that Cory set up, which I thought was very clever and really cool. But once the arc was over, I'm left with a character who's kind of a downer and not a lot of fun. He's just kind of a grumpy piece of shit. At least before, he reveled in it. He's just like, fuck it, I'm pissed. I don't give a fuck. But now he's just such a downer. It's like, yeah, whatever. Fuck off. It's boring. The arc was great, but then you get off the stage. It's kind of like making one of those, having a story where the character arcs perfectly, beautifully. And then it's like, now you got, it's kind of like, this is a weird reference, but it's when it comes to mind, you know, To Kill a Mockingbird, it's classic. Go Set a Watchman, not so much. You know, they were done. They arced. They completed their journey. It just doesn't feel like there's any validity to wanting another story with that guy. But that may just be me. Okay. Let's move on, though, shall we? I wanted to show you something real quick. Look at this, man. Look at this fucking story. I've been there, man. This is tough. This is tough to handle. I don't know how they're handling it. It's Square Enix, but it was a sucker punch when we saw, and we knew in the numbers. I always say this. I was stunned that the people at Sony would call me and go, "Hey, these numbers for Drawn to Death are pretty good." I'm like, "No, they're not. Are you seeing the same numbers?" We knew in the first weekend we were dead. There was nothing we could do. But a news article from True Trophies came out. PS Plus game Foamstars has lost 95% of its player base. 95%. Here's what they wrote. Despite receiving a strong initial burst of PS Plus subscribers, because it was free for that first month, very much like Drawn to Death, and also very much like we all were riffing on what's the game from Psyonix? You know, the goddamn game. God, my memory's gotten shitty, fellas. The fuck is that? The soccer with cars. God damn it, Jaffe. Oh my God. What the fuck is that? I'm gonna close my. I'm gonna look. This is ridiculous. I can't remember the goddamn. I know Psyonix. I know the people who made it. I know where they were. Their offices. We're down the street from Bartlett Jones. Jesus Christ, Rocket League. God damn. Anyway, the point is, though, look at this. So they were all like, "Hey, we'll give it away the first month. People will love it. Then we'll, go to the bank with all our ducats." Despite receiving a strong initial burst of PS Plus subscribers when the Foamstar trophies arrived day one on the service, it seems their player base has seemingly been in free fall ever since. 2 months later, it seems players have all but abandoned Foamstars for other PS5 multiplayer games, with the shooter having lost over 94% of its initial player base. It says they debuted the first week with more players than Helldivers 2. They came out the same day. It since dropped out of the 200 PlayStation chart, 200 multiplayer games on the True Trophies. So not much to say about it. I mean, I couldn't stand it. I loved the idea of it. It was beautifully produced, beautifully made, and it was just an absolute visual cacophony of madness. You couldn't tell what was going on. All the foam got in the way. The colors, as beautiful as they were so garish and confusing that you couldn't tell what you were supposed to do. Yeah, Awesome says Foamstars was too chaotic. It missed the point of being easy to pick up and play. Absolutely. So, I get it. Foamstars was a thing, says Ravnos. It was not a fun thing. Yeah, clearly that's the case. But anyway, that's going to not be around for much longer, I would assume, if this story is to be believed. Let me bring in Joe, who's been waiting in the room there. Joe, what's up? It's Jaffe.
Hey there, Jaffe.
Man, can you talk a little bit louder? Can you talk a little bit louder?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that'll work. What's going on?
Sticking to the God of War subject, I always had a deep question about during like the mid 2000s. I always heard like a rumor that there would be a God of War movie, especially like after 300 came out. I feel like the story, especially like mid 2000s era, like begged to become a movie. And
Right.
I was wondering if there was any validity to like those old rumors back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, there was not Sony, but Sony licensed the property. This is before PlayStation Productions to Chuck Roven, who's a big movie producer. They produced a lot of things, but at the time, most significantly, he did the Batman trilogy with Nolan, Christopher Nolan. They licensed it. They paid a writer, an Oscar-nominated writer, $1 million to write a screenplay. It was decent. It wasn't amazing, but it was decent. And then, like everything else, they couldn't attach an actor to it, blah, blah, blah. So it kind of died, or at least kind of just was like, whatever. But now with PlayStation Productions, it is officially moving forward as a Amazon TV series, which I don't know when they're going to start shooting it. I don't think that they have cast it, or if they haven't announced who it is, but it looks like that's going to be happening, and they're going to do it as a TV show.
Have they consulted you at all about that?
Oh God, no.
Oh man, that's
Twisted Metal. They reached out. I had a couple of conversations with them, which I appreciated. God of War, though, my guess is they're basing it off God of War today, and they might be doing Greek stuff as a flashback or whatever. But Corey's running that franchise as far as I know still. And so if anyone's involved, which I'm sure there are people involved, I would imagine it would be Corey. To the point that maybe he might even direct an episode. And I only say that because we saw Neil do it on The Last of Us, and that was a really good episode that Neil did. But no, I'm not. I have nothing to do with it. But I will. I don't even know if I will be watching it, frankly. If it doesn't sound like my kind of show. If it's based on the new God of Wars, it sounds like one of those somber, prestige TV things. And I'm like, that ain't God of War, man. I mean, that's what God of War's become. But I would have never made God of War that in the first place, which means I don't watch shows like that. I find them boring. But I know a lot of people love shit like that, and I'm sure it's going to be awesome. But yeah, it's not really on my radar. But that's what's happening with it.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Thanks, buddy.
All right, have a good one.
I appreciate it. You too, sir. There he goes, fellas. Now, look, I want to show you two quick things. My nephew just got one of these. He got a Apple Vision Pro, and hello, Soak 7 Plays. Good to see you again. I have been not even on the fence. I've just been like, you know what, $3,500 for this is ridiculous. I can't. I think it's super cool. I love AR, blah blah blah. But Apple the other day just released what they call spatial personas, and this may be enough to get me to finally pull a trigger. Especially now, like my daughter is dating a guy in Vegas right now, and she's spending a lot of time in Vegas. And as my kids grow up and move on to their own lives, something like this, and it's only going to get better, is like, what a wonderful way to stay in touch with the people you love all over the world. I want to show you this video real quick. This is two people playing chess with Apple Vision Pro spatial personas. And I have not experienced it, but I hear everyone who has, they say that it is just the knees bees. Look at this shit. So here you go.
We're ready for a little chess game here. Absolutely.
I'll pause the audio or turn down the audio. So basically they have hands. Yes, it's kind of ghostly or whatever, but apparently, and as you move around your room, they are in whatever space they're in that does not have to conform to your room. So the apps that you're running force their avatars within reason into the spaces that makes the most sense. But that guy could be sitting in his bed that he's playing chess with, and he's sitting, maybe looks like in a laundry room or something. I think it's a little creepy at first, but when you actually start doing it and seeing people do it and watch it, they say, and I get this, that the sense of being there with someone, the sense of presence is just is staggeringly accurate, effective. It's not that it makes chess more fun, blackjack. It's that it makes the ability to socialize with people you want to socialize with a hell of a lot easier. So I look at something like this and I think, okay, I don't think you want to necessarily eat Thanksgiving dinner with your family all over the world with this, but to say, hey, it's Christmas Eve, let's all hook up, in this and see each other. I think that's cool, man. I don't know. I mean, and again, it's not just me kind of trying to push this on people. It's like, oh, we think it's dumb, Jaffe. I'm telling you, everyone that's done it has been like, this is fucking crazy. There's one other one I want to show you. Look at this one. This shows you how the space works. So this guy is in his own, I don't know where he is. He could be across the country, but they're able to get up and all of the augmented reality stuff is projected for both of them in their worlds, right? So they're both seeing that screen, or they're both watching a movie together. It's just that where it is in their environment changes based on what their environment is. But the perception of being there with someone is insane. I don't even care. I absolutely see the how much should Apple pay you? It's a waste of money. I don't care. I'm sorry. That to me, friends, is it's the pain of being a visionary that can see what other people like you guys can't. But you know, all I can tell you is this is the future. And I agree, by the way, Blake, he says, this is a great proof of concept. I'll check back in 10 years. Yeah, this is not ready for the average person yet, but absolutely think about this in X years. Like, remember what AI art looked like a year ago. Imagine this in 5 years. Imagine it with just a pair of glasses in 10 years. And you are basically walking around your house and you get a message, oh, you know, my kid or my parents or my friend wants to have a quick chat. And suddenly they're in your fucking living room. All you had to do was go, bloop. I mean, come on. Come on. It's amazing. This you'll probably love, though. You want to see what Wolverine looks like in the new movie? There he is. They released I guess it's a Coke cup, and intentionally or not, oh, you can't see it, can you? Intentionally or not, they showed Hugh Jackman's cowl. So we've known the costume looks like with the yellow blue classic, but now we actually get to see what the cowl looks like, which is pretty cool. The other thing, let me tell you something, bitch. Blackjack says, Jaffe, the visionary director of Drawing to Death. The way you become, and you would not know this because you're not one of us, is Referral says the chess people are in your walls. Don't tell Pete Turtle. Here, yeah, you don't understand. Where'd he go? Blackjack is that you don't become a visionary and you don't stay a visionary without failure. Failure is about taking those steps that you have to take in order to prepare yourself to have successes. That's how you learn. That's how you learn, you moron. If you actually got out of your comfort zone for 5 seconds, you would understand I was right. Okay, I want to show you one other thing. Raf Garcetti. I don't know if you guys have seen this commercial. I don't quite know why they spent all this money on it, but it's like a Marvel commercial with all the characters coming to life. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, his one of his characters, I think Wolverine, appears in this, the way he designed it. But what's cool is I guess Coke's doing this big deal with Marvel, and I so fucking want these things. Look at these things. Look at these, all these fucking Coke cups. Not cups, but cans. I'm going to get every single fucking one of them. Let me show you. I'm trying to find it. It's in this thread somewhere. There you go. I think they said there's like 36 of them. And they're not just like Spider-Man. It's, you know, Elektra's in there, and it's, you know, Blade is in there, and all the, you know, characters that are not movie stars are in there. What is this? This is a official motion poster. I want to see if I can find it though, because they give a list of who the characters are, and it's really extensive. But anyway, I wanted to show you that because of Wolverine, and I love superheroes. And here it is. Look what you get. Coke is Blade, Cable, Colossus, Daredevil, Deadpool, Elektra, Juggernaut, Kingpin, Loki, Moon Knight, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Wolverine, Nick Fury, Storm, Super Skrull, War Machine, Coca-Cola Zero, Ant-Man, Black Panther, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Groot, Hulk, Iron Man, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Rocket, Scarlet Witch, Shang-Chi, Star-Lord, Thanos, and Thor. I'm in. I love this shit, man. I'm going to have every one. I'll put them on the back wall if I can collect them all. You use your Dune popcorn bucket. Hey man, I just saw that that's coming out in a couple of weeks to streaming. Thank God, because I'm not going to go to the theater and see it. That's some hoarder shit, says Blake. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. All right, fellas, that has been the show for today. I'm going to be calling this Gabbin' and Games Live moving forward. There will be Gabbin' and Games, which is just the podcast version that I do without an audience. We get one of those this week, another one of these. I'll be putting up tomorrow. What I'm going to be working on is this Games Less Traveled. I don't expect a lot of people to watch it because but I don't care. I have to bang the drum, fellas. There are so many cool fucking games out there that even if you're like, that graphics are shitty, I got to let the world know, even if I can convince one person to try something a little cool and off the beaten path, we can get less and less people going, oh, games are all samey. No, that. Phantom Fury, says Jarvie. Hey, buddy. Comes out 23rd of April. What is Phantom Fury? Oh, it's the sequel to Ion Fury. Ooh, cool. Excellent. All right, fellas. Be well, be safe, and I will talk to you guys soon. I agree, Kyler. Video games are fun. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you guys on a future show, I hope. Bye. Here's the song where we end the show. Because I'm on StreamYard, I don't know how to get alixplox's music playing, and so I'll just make up a song for you right now. Here's how it goes. Joker 28 walked into the road. He didn't see the old lady coming. He almost got hit, but I don't mean coming with the car. I mean, she was a squirter. Goodbye.